Now I think it's all about Kevin Durant's legacy and how he wants to be remembered. So if he wins this year and gets his third ring, I think he's gone win or lose because now he gets a chance to make another legacy somewhere else. He got his hardware. Now it's all about trying to take another woebegone franchise instead of going to a perennial winner and trying to win more rings on the back end of his career more successfully
Mhm.
than LeBron did. Now, Kawhi Leonard already has a ring. He won one 5 years ago with the Spurs.
Yep.
So he's also playing for pride for himself because he's a gamer. He's a huge competitor. He's playing for his future as well, but he could go anywhere and turn that team into a championship contender. It just happens to be the Raptors right now, but he could also leave win or lose. As I said a few minutes ago, it's getting harder and harder for Kawhi Leonard to justify leaving Toronto. So there's a lot on the line here, but we're never going to see a series like this again because of all the potential player movement. I mean, you got Klay Thompson, who's also a free agent. So both of these teams could look completely different next year. I think it's all about the here and now. We'll have plenty of time in July and August to discuss player movement and things like that. This is about these finals, the Warriors looking like their old selves, and the run Kawhi and the Raptors have been on, this collision course to ultimately meet the Warriors for the chance to win it all here.
Hey, but you know what, Jason? I think that almost as important as the team aspect here is I really do feel like there's an aspect of playing for top dog because I feel like Kawhi, no matter what they say, these guys want to be the top of the mountain. And I think part of what happened when Durant went out was that Curry said, "This is my time now." I don't know if nearly enough credit is given to Steph Curry for the way that he just handled the whole Kevin Durant situation. I mean, I get they're winning, and everyone says how easy it is when you're winning and so on, but it's a weird situation to be the MVP of the league, a unanimous MVP, Jason, to win 73 games, and then to give up the reins of your team to another player. And we don't hear a peep of it from Curry. There's never a complaint. He's never grouching about what's going on, never grousing that, I don't get the ball enough. I mean, and we saw with the Celtics this year that as much as everyone believes that this is easy, just win some games and everything's fine, Kyrie Irving was not content to take a backseat. A lot of these players are not content to do that. Guys chafe under that. And Curry has done nothing of the sort. He's been the consummate professional, and he's clearly taken this as a chance for him to show his own greatness. And I think this NBA Finals is going to be a showcase for the league to see which of these guys is going to take that mantle. And I am fascinated to watch that, Jason, because I think it could tell us a lot about the league that we're going to watch. If Kawhi Leonard plays like the best player in the league and just dominates, if the Raptors win, this is an all-time win for him to put on that resume. This is elevating his stature in NBA history. And as you said, it has huge ripple effects because if they do win the finals, there's never been a player in NBA history, Jason, who has ever been the best player on a championship team and then left. It's never happened. Kawhi
I want to
Leonard would
make
be creating new history if he were to win and then leave in free agency. Go ahead.
I'm going to make a bold statement here that I don't know if you've heard anywhere else, and I might get some hate mail for this. If Kawhi and the Raptors pull this off, this will be a more impressive championship than what LeBron did to Cleveland. And I say this because
I agree.
LeBron had all the hype around him. The prodigal son returned home again to try and give Cleveland that elusive NBA championship. Had a much better supporting cast with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving and a lot of those bench guys.
For sure.
Kawhi did this in year one with a rookie head coach, with the second and third best players on this team, stars on the wrong side of 30, past their prime in Lowry and Gasol. Siakam came out of nowhere and has developed into a perennial future all-star, I'd say. And then they have what a lot of teams really crave for, and that's sharpshooting off the bench in Powell and Van Vliet. They got veterans on there, Jeremy Lin, Patrick McCaw. They got Jody Meeks on the roster. This is the perfect blend But if Kawhi pulls this off, this trumps LeBron in 16 for me, 100%. I know the Warriors did not win 73 games, and I know that the Warriors could have potentially won if Draymond Green did not kick somebody where the sun don't shine. And they've been having that debate for years. But I think this championship for Kawhi and the Raptors, if they do it, would be way more impressive.
I completely agree. I don't.
So you're
I'm
not going to
go
send
a step
me
further and say I don't think there's any doubt that you're correct, Jason, because that team didn't have Kevin Durant. That team did not have DeMarcus Cousins. And quite frankly, even if those guys don't play at full strength, they're still better than what that Cavs team saw. And as you mentioned, the Cavs team required a suspension from Draymond Green to get that win. Steph Curry may not have been 100%. And let's not forget, Jason, that Cavs team ran roughshod over a terrible, terrible Eastern Conference that was really putrid for the most part. I mean, maybe not quite as bad as last year, but I mean, was not a strong conference. Meanwhile, this year's Raptors had to beat a historically good regular season team in Milwaukee and a really incredibly talented Sixers team that I think that Game 7 just showed how good Philadelphia is. I mean, I think if you're the Sixers fans, you actually have to be a little encouraged when you see how good the Raptors are and how they just smoked the Bucks. You think to yourself, maybe we're closer than we thought. I think it also just speaks to how good this Raptors team is. They managed to beat two really, really good teams, Jason. Arguably, the teams they beat are better than the teams that the Warriors have beaten to this point. So I think you're completely right. I think Kawhi Leonard deserves immense credit. And it kind of leads us, I think, Jason, to where we have to go, which is our predictions for this series. I mean, we've talked about where it's going, but the question now is who actually wins the series, Jason?
I mean, look, we've been singing Toronto's praises for a good portion of this podcast, but we'd be stupid to pick against Golden State. So I'm going to go Warriors in 6. I've been decent at predicting these NBA playoffs. We both had the Bucks. We were both wrong. But I'm going to say Warriors in 6 because it comes down to the firepower. I know I said before the bench plays a role. But when you have Curry and Thompson, potentially Kevin Durant, and DeMarcus Cousins all on one end of the floor, and you don't know what you're going to get out of Toronto offensively outside of Kawhi Leonard, obviously, and then maybe half of Pascal Siakam. You don't know what Gasol's going to do. You don't know what Lowry's going to do. Now, I think they're all trending upward based on how they played in the conference finals. But this is Lowry's first finals. This is Gasol's first finals. I mean, we don't know. They could get the jitters and crack on the biggest stage. So I think it's going to be a compelling series. I think it is very noteworthy that Toronto has the home court advantage. But I think that Golden State will win it in 6. And it's interesting, Ben, that this format is no longer 2-3-2. It's 2-2-1-1-1. So if they split in Toronto games 1 and 2, they have a chance to win game 6 at home and clinch that championship. And then that's it. The end of a dynasty.
And the end of Oracle.
Yes, the end of Oracle. Well. It's a very good point, sir. Warriors in 6 for me. What do you got?
I mean, this is such a fascinating series just because of all the unknowns. And for me, I'm going to end up picking the Warriors. I'm leaning around the same as you, about 6 games. But there's so many unknowns for me. I'm going to give the Warriors the edge based on what we know now, and I'll say 6 games. But I think there are a few things we really need to watch. Obviously, the biggest one is, does Kevin Durant play? If Kevin Durant doesn't play in this series, Jason, I think the Raptors, if not should be the favorites, should be very, very minor underdogs. Because this is, and I said this to you before our podcast started today, by most statistical measures, this is the best team this Warriors, i.e. with Kevin Durant, have ever played. The best team they have played. And now a lot of people are going to point to last year's Rockets and say that's ridiculous. That team was better. Advanced statistics show that this Raptors team is better than anyone that they've faced. Them or the Bucks would have both been in that same stratosphere. And we just watched what they did to that team. And then, Jason, there's the question of what will Kawhi Leonard do? Will he guard Curry? Because I genuinely believe, Jason, that if Kawhi Leonard starts on Curry in this series, he could make life hell for the Warriors. And if they can keep the Warriors in the 90s, I fully believe they're going to have a chance to win this series. I think if Durant comes back, That's not going to be possible. My prediction is that Durant comes back in Game 3, helps the Warriors win it in 6. But I have to tell you, Jason, I think we're going to be in for some very, very, very good basketball.
And I hope you're right. However, we were sitting here thinking that Portland was going to make it a series in the West Finals. And you saw they had a grueling 7-game series with Denver to make it to the West Finals. You saw what the Toronto Raptors have done in the postseason, okay? They lost game 1 at home to the Magic. They end up getting a gentleman's sweep. And then in the second round, they took a very special Kawhi Leonard shot to send the Sixers home in 7. And then they faced Giannis and the Bucks, and they had a reel off 4 very impressive wins in a row. So they could be exhausted. I mean, there's going to be adrenaline, the big stage, the bright lights. All eyes will be on Toronto on Thursday night and Sunday. It's going to be very interesting, but you have to hope they have something left in the tank to ultimately make this a series, because as basketball fans, as podcast hosts, that's really all you could ask for.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a great series, Jason. I'm really excited to see it, and I am fascinated to see what we see from Kawhi Leonard. As a final thought for everyone that we didn't touch on, also don't sleep on Iguodala feeling some sort of way about, Kawhi Leonard's defensive stature, since he himself has been long regarded as one of the best in the league, and he's going to likely get to start out on Kawhi in this series, Jason. And that's another matchup we might have slept on a little bit, is how well Iguodala does on Kawhi Leonard. Because obviously, if they can neutralize Kawhi, you're right. We're probably giving them too much credit. Because if Kawhi Leonard is not the Kawhi Leonard we've seen, this could suddenly be a Warriors 4 or 5 game series. So lots to watch, Jason. We'll be back next week. Do you have any final thoughts for the people before we go?
Like I said, I just hope it's a series. We're hyping this up. We're sitting here, and you just have to hope Toronto's got something left in the tank to contend. It's going to be very compelling on and off court storylines. You got the injury concerns with Golden State. You got the first-timer approach with Nick Nurse, the Raptors as an organization. But these have been the best NBA playoffs in some time now, and it's very scary that I'm saying that because it was a postseason without LeBron James. But all I'm saying is, end it on a high note. These rounds have all been fantastic, and I'm sad to see it end, but we have anywhere from 4 to 7 games left to break down, and we're very excited to do it. So, Ben, I'm going to take my role back, if you don't mind, and I'm going to tell all of you listening, thank you again for putting up with us. We had some audio issues last week. We're back. We're better than ever. But please remember to subscribe, rate, and review.
5 stars, please.
And we'll be back next week with an extensive breakdown. And really, by the time we record, Ben, there's only going to be 2 games that have played. So we're guaranteed to have at least 2 more shows to break down the NBA Finals. It's been a slow news week otherwise in the NBA. So just stay tuned. Enjoy the NBA Finals, folks. And, Ben, I'll let you get the last word, man.
I'm just going to thank everyone for listening all season and enjoy what should be a great NBA Finals.
Tell Drake I said hello.